everyone. Welcome all to another iteration of the After Dark segment of the Good Anime Palette podcast. This is After Dark number 7, the first After Dark of 2022. I am your co-host, Jason, and I am joined, as always, as usual, with Romantic Will over here.
I'm feeling the elaborate, eloquent openings for ADs for yourself is a little more fleshed out than the usual regular episodes, because usually it's like, hello, everybody. This is episode blah, blah, blah of the... Now it's more like, hey, guys, we got some good shit for you today. Got Will, got Jason in the house. How's it going, everybody?
Well, you see here, when it comes to formality, the EPs, the episodes, numbered episodes, are... like real talk. Not saying that our ADs are not real talk, but ADs, they're after dark. They're after the numbered episodes. So.
I also feel that because of the topic we're talking about today, this is a little bit more close at heart for you. So therefore, you're going to be a little more passionate, a little bit more psyched to do today's AD episode 7.
But forget all that for the time being, because, guys, even though we're recording this early, happy Valentine's Day, everyone.
Yep, happy Valentine's Day. This goes out to all the singles and all the couples and everything in between, or however many there is in your relationship. Won't question you.
As long as it's consensual and everyone is on the same page.
Bro, you got a harem going on, boy or girl? Hey, congratulations. You've achieved the ultimate weed dream.
So, because it is Valentine's Day, in fact, I think this comes out the day after Valentine's Day.
Which means that chocolates are going to be on discount.
Yes. We will... have to do our due diligence and go into the realm of love, but not the shoujo romance genre, but maybe what would be an ongoing multi-part series of the Good Anime Palette After Dark series, which is what we deemed Rose Rumble. This is part 1, also known as Best Girl / Waifu War Part 1.
Yep, this is going to be a very bloody affair. I think that's specifically to start off today's topic, and hopefully as the beginning of a long-running series that we'll be doing. We're going to be talking about some very, very, very interesting subsets of Yandere types. Now, if you've listened to our Yandere episode
number 7,
episode 7, where we went over the 4 main Yandere archetypes: Tsunderes, Kuuderes, Yanderes, and of course, Yanderes. We're going to be focusing on 2 specific Yandere types.
Now, to give a kind of context, Will and I always wanted to do kind of like a Waifu War / Best Girl kind of After Dark list. So, we're going to do that, but we don't want to just rank our top 10 Best Girl / Waifu and then just call it a day, because we thought it's not that interesting, even though there is merit in that. So we had to also limit and restrict, because there's so many choices, so many right choices, so many good choices out there. So I retraced our steps back to our Yandere episode, and then I remembered that my favorite Yandere type is a Kuudere, Will's favorite type is a Yandere, so we thought instead of doing our own favorite Yandere type, we should do each other's, right?
That's pretty much the way we're going to go. So if you haven't heard from before, now, of course, we all have our favorite Tsunderes, Kuuderes, Yanderes, and Yanderes, but when it comes to the specific Yandere types that Jason or I affiliate with the most, suffice to say, Kuuderes reign supreme for you.
That's correct.
And for me, not to say that I love them the most, but they're definitely the most interesting, and at times I vouch for them the most because I'm a crazy fucking edgelord fucking... yeah. It's got to be Yanderes for me.
So Will has his list of the top 10 Kuuderes, and I have my top 10 list of Yanderes. Now, I think, Will, do you have a cross-reference list or a prediction list as well?
I do have. I think the reason why we have this is because of the fact that just because there are these 4 main Yandere types does not mean that Jason's coups are my coups. And just because of that doesn't mean that my Yans are his Yans.
I like it that you shorten it like that.
Right.
So the way it's going to work is we have decided that we will do the top 10 Kuuderes first. So we would go through Will's list, and then at the end, you might hear a bit about my picks or differences with Will's list, but usually it won't be like another top 10 list. It will just be a rather brief thing. Then after the break, we would do the opposite, or not really opposite, but we do the other side, which is my top 10 Yandere picks, and then Will's kind of cross-reference / his predictions on what my picks will be. We don't have a bet this time around because I think it is not really that fair in terms of for Will, and I think that like we're here and cause enough bloodshed and thorns will be plucked out of us. Wounds would need to be healed after this anyways, so why not just be civil about the bet?
There's going to be a lot of chaos with it, and because of that, I think another thing that we will stipulate. I mean, it's up to each individual on how they want to do their lists, but we don't necessarily have to go over our choices in numeric order. We're not ranking them. Of course, if you do rank them, that's completely fine as well.
So for context, I ranked my Yanderes, at least roughly speaking, and at least I know which order to say them, but they're not necessarily like 10 is better than 9, but 10 is, but I'm sorry, 1 is better than 10, but I would say
it's about context as well.
It's about context, right? So think of it as tiers, basically.
I also have like it's kind of like a soft ranking. Like I'll probably be talking about the more significant ones at the latter part of this discussion. But look, it's no holds barred, gloves are off. We're gonna go straight into a war between the best waifus and best girls within our specific Dere archetypes.
And this might be hopefully maybe an ongoing series or a one-off. We haven't decided yet, but enough about
when I eventually have to do my top 10 Yanderes, I'm going to struggle for that one.
Me too. So, enough about the foreplay. What exactly is a waifu for those uninitiated?
So, I mean, if you haven't figured in terms of what the word waifu means, at least when it comes to the sound of the word waifu, you can at least kind of guess that it is, meaning wife, right? So it's trying to consider a fictional female character, whether it's in any sort of like manga or anime. It could even be a video game, or it could be live action. I mean, within the purposes of this, we're only going to be talking about anime and manga. We're not going to go into live action or video games. I don't think either of us have a video game pick.
I mean, there might be based off of a video game,
Maybe.
But at the very least, visual novels, for example, is considered a video game, but,
Yeah, so essentially it's a female character, and it is, in this context, female because we're saying waifu. We will explain an antonym later on, but for the purpose of talking about waifus, it's a female character in an anime or a manga that you're attracted to, and if in IRL, you would consider them to be a significant partner of sorts. So it's essentially, like we've mentioned, waifu. It's a borrowing of the English word itself.
But it is quite interesting to know where it came from. And of course, when it comes to slang terms, having a very definitive pinpoint time of when it was coined is really hard. But when I was scouring the internet for answers, the 2002 anime Azumanga Daioh, which is based off of a 4-koma manga, I really like the anime. I even own the DVD of it. So that tells you how far back it is, 2002. So in this, anime, a teacher was asked who a woman is in his photo, and the teacher replied, "My wife," in English, but it was transcribed as "my waifu" due to the Japanese pronunciations of English words and the translation practices in the time. And I guess that kind of caught on. It's also interesting to note that people usually in Japan don't really say waifu. It's more of a Western or outside of Japan kind of coined term for anime and manga and of that sort. The opposite of waifus is husbandos. So there you go, buddy. It's waifus, husbandos.
Men are also included in this as well. Everyone deserves some husbando and waifu love.
Now, similarly with, I guess, yaoi and the yuri genre of, that type of anime and manga and properties, people have now attributed those terms to be within the spectrum of what they call boy love and girl love. Similarly with waifu, the term, even though it still exists and people use it very frequently, a new term has kind of emerged called best girl. And I think given sort of the way that modern society now operates and considers how they want to label things, best girl and waifu, even though could be interchangeable, actually has some, I would say, important differences.
Yeah, I think like best girl itself is kind of what came out of like Western categorization, right? When we talk about, for example, like awards, like best actor, best actress, best supporting actress, lead, or best supporting male actor, and all that. So again, I don't think that best girl or best boy, as the answer to them, really exists within Japanese culture. It's very much a Western weeb kind of thing that derived from old school anime and manga.
I think also another thing to consider is there are certain characters that people really have an affinity with, but let's just say that these characters, their biological age in terms of their canon is quite questionable, such that if you were to say this particular girl or this particular boy is your waifu or husbando,
it could raise some eyebrows.
Yeah, the people might be knocking on your door, and you might be, I don't know,
questioned by the FBI.
Right.
Yeah. So that's why in certain cases you may have a best girl, you may also have a waifu, and they're both completely different characters.
I think also another thing to consider is when it comes to the differentiation between best girl and waifu, I would say that there's always a best girl in any series, but I would not consider those candidates, all of them are waifus, because within a certain series, you might be like, she's the one I vibe with the most, or he's the one I vibe with the most, but she or he doesn't go into that like significant other worship category that the waifu and husbandos are known for.
Yeah, it's like the love that you have for a certain character can be the more appreciative way, in which you would say best boy, best girl, or the more sort of like fondness, attractiveness spectrum, which may then be like a waifu or a husbando for you. So we just wanted to clear that out just in case anybody was wondering, well, like, isn't the best girl a waifu and vice versa? And then on the other side, husbando and best boy, like, there is a difference. Some may not believe there's a difference. For us, we just want to at least show that distinction between the two, so that when we explain certain characters, it's easier to understand the context behind why we chose them for that specific stereotype or even specific waifu / best girl, whatever it may be.
So Will mentioned earlier that when we talked about data types, it was episode 7 of the Good Anime Palette podcast. But
almost a whole damn year ago.
Yeah, I know. It's time flies by. So this time around, Will is doing his top 10 Kuuderes, and I'm doing my top 10 Yanderes. But maybe you haven't listened to episode 7. You should. It's great. I love it. And we had a great time recording it. But you may not know what it is, and you don't want to Google it, which is fine. So, Will, what is Kuuderes and what is Yanderes?
So I got to explain the Kuuderes. You got to explain the Yanderes.
That's correct.
We're venturing into enemy territory. Okay, cool. So Kuuderes are a specific love interest type, which refers to characters who tend to be more sort of like cold and calm on both the exterior and usually the interior. So they don't really display much emotion. They don't really show much reaction to certain love or even like reaction cues. And generally, like, you could even say they're like emotionless. But the main part is they have their defenses up. There's like an ice cold wall surrounding their heart and their emotions, and they're not really giving up much. So, you could say that they're like the ice queen or the ice king. But, as we know, ice can melt. And of course, when you meet the right reaction, in this case, it could be a love interest. It could be even like more straightforward than a love interest and actually a lover. They could be able to provide that warmth that warms your cold heart. So just to break down the word Kuudere, dere means like, it's like that sort of like, it's the love type. And then ku is like literally just borrowing the word cool. It's like a katakana equivalent in terms of sound, not necessarily just based on meaning. But you could also say someone's ku in Japanese to refer to someone being cold.
You can also, I think the very popular Japanese slang term is kakoi, and I think that has some sort of relationship with kuderes as well in terms of not only description but kind of maybe etymology.
Yeah. So for example, you see someone that's really well dressed, you say, "Wow, kakkoi," and that's like, "Oh, that guy's super cool looking, some super stylish." But generally, it's like when you use that in that kind of sense, it's like most of the time, like kuderes are very like well presented. They keep to themselves, but they also know how to take care of themselves. They don't necessarily interact with external characters beyond themselves. But of course, it's never really like just the exterior, right? We're also looking at the interior of a character too, and that's how we tend to vibe with kuderes, because we can slowly see the warm, like the warming of the hearts, and therefore the display of further emotions, especially when it comes towards, a love interest within the series. So, in a nutshell, that's what a kudere is.
Now, another dere type, so a love-struck love type, is yanderes. Yanderes are basically psychos. They are okay.
Y'all heard the song from Beyonce, "Crazy in Love," right?
Oh, Jesus,
This is literally that, but you add in like scalpels, maybe a gun or like a scythe, and we gotta talk about the yandere eyes as well.
Right.
Like, there's a definitely a little bit like off kilter, a little bit unhinged kind of appeal to these borderline or if not full blown psychopaths.
And as an anime trope, going a little bit back to kuderes, usually kuderes have light-colored hair or blue-colored hair to kind of emphasize the cool/ice component of kuderes. For yanderes, I would say pink is definitely the majority of kind of like quick indication that something ain't right about this character. I think sometimes purple is used as well, but mainly I would say if there was one color, it would be pink. So yanderes, they express their love through overprotectiveness, violence, and brutality and torture, or sometimes all three, or any one of those varieties.
Yep, and if anything was to come in between themselves and their love, then it's just all out destruction.
And usually these yanderes have mental issues or are very deranged or they need help basically, but they see it as their help is their love interest and they'll do whatever it takes to get their affection. So the yan part in yandere comes from the verb yanderu, which is kind of like to be sick mentally, or yamu, which is to be sick generally. So that's the yan part, dere is the love-struck part, and that is, in a nutshell, what yandere and what Will earlier said, what kudere is.
Yeah, so yanderes, they don't always have to be mentally unstable, but for the most part, their actions would depict that there is some instability within themselves, whether mentally, emotionally, even sometimes physically as well. Yanderes are hard to please, especially when it comes to looking at things beyond their love interests, and they're also the hardest to control. But doesn't mean that there aren't some very, very well put together yanderes in some of the series that we've watched. And so, without further ado, we're going to go into the top 10 lists of these two specific dere types.
Starting with the kuderes from Will's side.
Yeah, so this one was a bit interesting because if you had asked me maybe like 3-4 months ago, I probably wouldn't have been able to put together 10 or so, because it wasn't like I wasn't interested in kuderes. It's just they weren't necessarily like a focus. But as I started watching more and more stuff, particularly when it comes to slice of life or even some bordering like more on the romance side, started to see more and more characters of the kudere variety. Now again, to stipulate, I didn't really put this all in order, but you'll figure they all belong in the top 10 for me.
Furthermore, I have to interject. Your definition of kudere and yandere may be slightly different, or you might say, hey, Will, this is not technically a kudere in my opinion, or Jason, the fuck does that mean? That's not a yandere. This is a yandere. And look, it's just subjective opinion at the end of the day. We understand that people are very passionate about their waifus or best girls because we are as well. So let's just hear me out, and you can hear Will out and tell us how wrong we are later.
We are all different people. We are all different personalities. If we were all the same, then the world would be boring as shit, right? So my idea of coups won't necessarily be the same as Jason's, but that doesn't mean that Jason's is right I'm wrong, I'm right, Jason's wrong, whatever it may
Or
be.
there's no commonality between our definitions. There's gonna be. So.
There's a whole point in doing these as a discussion topic, right? We can actually sit here and really talk about, wait, so you think they're a coup? Why? Or actually, they don't really exhibit Yandere traits, so why does that person make your list? Yada, yada, yada. And we'll explain them as we go. So, starting off on my top 10 Kuudere's list, I also had a soft prediction that Jason would be able to guess around 6, maybe 7 of the characters I have on this list, because I'm quite predictable. I'm not exactly going to be watching that many different series, and the ones that I'm covering, Jason absolutely knows about them. But I'll start off with a character from Clannad. Though
one prediction correct. I don't know the character because I never watched Clan or Clan After.
I knew you had that one. And the character's name is Tomoyo Sakagami. So she is one of the classmates of the main character from Clannad, and actually acts as one of the potential love interests if you play the visual novel. And they also touch upon it in the anime series, enough to the point where they actually made an original video animation of it, an OVA specifically for Tomoyo. So Tomoyo she used to be just like straight up destruction, beats the shit out of people, causes a lot of ruckus, mostly beating up boys because she was just basically rough and tumble, didn't stand the bullshit, and usually as growing up as kids, unfortunately, it was always very easy to tease girls. Well, Tomoyo didn't stand up for that shit. She always, stood up and always beat the fuck out of whoever was around her. But of course, she started to sort of relinquish the violent side of her and slowly be a little more calm, a little more quiet, a little more calculated. And so in the story of Clannad, she is a lot more reserved. She's definitely nowhere near as powerful, but she definitely exhibits her strength in certain episodes. She's definitely a little more cold-hearted. And of course, it's born out of like a pretty rough upbringing. She doesn't necessarily have the best of family backgrounds, and she's always in trying to look for ways to protect people. Now, when it comes to her affiliation with the characters within the story, she starts warming up. But the reason why she starts warming up is because of the fact that she keeps wondering, like, what am I doing? Why am I doing so many things to protect other people? Why can I not look at myself and protect myself? And she starts. You can also see that, like, despite the fact that she has that cold exterior, she has a lot of passion for the people around her. She definitely likes to protect people. She is focused on trying to have that sense of justice, but that sense of justice encompasses everyone else around her, and so she generally starts to become a little more kind, a little more open to people, but she's still very much reserved until she starts getting more and more involved with Kyo. Kyo being the main character as part of this visual novel / anime roots. Enough to the point where they actually go off and make a OVA specifically following the relationship of these two characters. It's not a spoiler because they released that shit. You should know about that shit too. It's just cute to see her slowly become more and more open and actually interact more with not just her siblings and her friends, but also with what seems to be a potential love interest within the school that she goes to. And it's just cute that she was able to break out that tough exterior and show that inside she does have a heart.
Now, Will, it's going to be hard to sort of describe, maybe for both of us, why a certain Kuudere or a certain Yandere appeals to you. But if you can, because we both might repeat the same thing for every single candidate or several. What does she appeal to you?
Oh, she's tough as fuck, dude. She holds herself well. She protects her friends, and at the same time, right? Like what we usually see when it comes to any kind of romance, SOL, or just romance stories in general, is that when you break open that tough exterior, they're vulnerable or meek. They need help. Tomoyo's not like that. Tomoyo, because of the fact that, again, this is the world of Clannad, every character is kind of broken, and she's no more broken than anyone else. So it's a very realistic depiction of just because somebody lets down their guard doesn't necessarily change who they are deep down inside. Yes, she still opens up and maybe shows more displays of affection, but Tomoyo is still Tomoyo. And that's what I like. It's and like I'm not just here to like go off and like say like, oh, women should be better represented, blah blah blah. Like I'm not that voice, but I do support, of course, equal rights and all that. What I am saying here is that she's not that damsel in distress. She just needs someone to come and rescue her. Rather, she just wants somebody to be able to recognize Tomoyo for Tomoyo, and then that way she can freely love whoever she wants and still be able to show off that if you fuck with me, I will fuck you up.
So, Clannad and Clannad After Story is a very, very highly
Cried a fuck ton watching that shit.
highly acclaimed series by Kyoto Animation for fall 2007 for Clannad, and then I guess the sequel, Clannad After Story, in fall 2008. It is based off of the visual novel of the same name by developer Key. One thing I will say is that Clannad and Clannad After Story is infamously known as probably one of the most personally, emotionally impactful animes of all time. And Will has told me repeatedly how, no joke, it has changed the way he sees things in general, like in real life.
Life in general, yeah.
Like, and to say that is awesome high praise, and I'm so scared.
It's terrifying to think that there's an anime, a show in general, that could be so life-changing.
Right. All right.
On to the next one. Now, this one, I think you might have it, but if you don't, then I wouldn't be surprised. But I would be, actually, no. I'm going to say it anyway. Yuki Nagato, from The Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya.
To predict, no, okay, yeah, yes.
That wasn't hard, just because of the fact that, just like how I watched Clannad recently, I also recently watched Haruhi, and Jason also knows about Haruhi Suzumiya and knows about Yuki Nagato. How spoilerish are we going in this, by the way?
Yeah, so I forgot to mention that we will try to be as spoiler-free as possible. But for example, when it comes to, we should probably have put this earlier, but who cares? Sorry, Yanderes, right? Sometimes their reveal is supposed to be spoilery, and unfortunately, one or two of my choices are very much so. So I will try my best, and Will is also to try to minimize spoilers. So I guess it's at your discretion, but also take note that other than the first season, I've not consumed the rest of it. So
yeah. So Yuki Nagato, as revealed in the first season, is a rather unassuming and quiet character. She's very, very reserved. Does not talk that much. In fact, she may only give like 2 to 3 word answers. But as the series develops, you start understanding more about her influence on the story, about the powers that she holds within her. I mean, the fact that The Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya is a supernatural comedy/drama. You can kind of figure that something happens to Yuki's character. Now, the thing with Yuki, though, is that she doesn't... There's not really a lot of love interests. Rather, it's more affection for one another in terms of like being friends, in terms of being comrades. It may even be more than just being friends. But for the most part, Yuki, because of the fact that her upbringing is not the same as everyone else's. In fact, like she is from a whole different dimension. She's not even like the same kind of person as every other character there is. So her idea of emotion, her idea of human connection and building relationships is very, very non-existent. But because of the fact that she interacts with all the characters in the cast of The Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya, she starts to pick up a couple things. She starts to not open herself up, but rather she learns that this is how you're supposed to display affection or display care, and she'll start exhibiting it as part of her normal emotional repertoire. And that's just one thing I like. It's very similar to why I like Tomoyo from Clannad, because she doesn't fundamentally change. Rather, she just shows that, oh, this is who I am, and I also have this side of me that isn't necessarily a depiction of who I am as a person, but it is a depiction of how I will show my love for you, my care for you, my affection for you. And yeah, I'd say, like, again, it's not like ranked, but she definitely rates quite high in terms of a personal favorite Kuudere.
I think Yuki is a very good Kuudere. I really like her as a character as well, even though I've not consumed the whole pantheon of The Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya, which consists of technically 2 seasons and a movie, all done by Kyoto Animation. And yeah, Yuki is awesome. I consumed all of the first season, and I can already tell you, she's awesome. She's great.
Moving on to number 3. Again, not ranked, but they just happen to be the third on this list. We're going to go... How far back do we go? We're going to go back maybe... I think it was 10, 12 years. Do you remember when Code Geass released? Do you have that on your list?
Nope.
Okay. How much of Code Geass had you watched?
I will be very honest, I don't remember.
Right.
Other than I have consumed at least, if not most, all of it.
Right. So the character that I'm talking about from Code Geass, does the name Cece?
Listen, Will. If you need a pizza to be eaten, right? If you need a pizza...
Even if you haven't watched that much Code Geass, you know damn well what pizza means in the world of Code Geass.
Let me tell you, in the world of Code Geass, if there ever was a Pizza Hut equivalent, a good sizable portion of revenue comes from this one person alone. End of story.
Yep. So essentially, Cece is just some supernatural, crazy, stubborn woman. She is actually the result of like a human test subject during the whole Britannian Empire arc of Code Geass. Not spoiler, because they literally are the tyrannical army that rules over the whole of what you would say white people Japan. It's it's a very touchy subject. That's why, like, when it comes to like war and political shows, it's really touch and go.
Hey, 86 just entered the chat, guys.
Speaking of 86, so she essentially provides the Code Geass power to Lelouch, who's the main character of the whole story. Now, while she doesn't necessarily show like affection or love for Lelouch, I think it's like noting that there is like a strong respect and recognition of the influence and ability of Lelouch. Like, that's the thing with Lelouch's character. He's incredibly inspirational and also rubs people like the right way.
Wait, isn't he wicked smart?
He's smart. Yeah, like he's definitely got a good noggin on him. Very, very much one of those characters where he knows how to play to an advantage, and CC recognizes that. CC was like, I'm very glad to be able to bestow this power upon you, but at the same time, like, she's incredibly reserved. Like, she okay, so Tomorrow had like silverish gray hair that kind of sheens a little bit blue. The other character, Yuki, she has like the
lavender,
bluish purple hair, lavender hair. Cece's is different. Cece's is like a kind of like a mossy green, a little bit different from the other ones. But then
you might even say neon in a way.
In a way, yeah. If you look at it at a certain angle, it could be like quite neon. But again, very reserved. But what I like about her again is that, like, no need for damsel in distress. She is incredibly powerful. Yes, she is the result of a crazy human experiment, but at the same time, that just makes her who she is. She's a result of a crazy tyrannical empire, and she knows that the power that she has within her is enough to be able to wipe out the last of humanity, but keeps herself composed and is able to show her affection in terms of appreciation, respect for Lelouch, and that's why she makes the top 10 for me.
Yeah, she is definitely a good character that I remember from Code Geass. That's what I'll say. And she likes pizzas. That's it.
Yeah. Now, the fourth one, this one, I wonder if you do. You definitely know the property. I wonder if you wrote it down. The property that I'm going to bring into question is Black Lagoon.
Nope.
Ooh. The character I'm talking about here, and this is a slightly controversial one because it's an edge case, but I'm talking about Roberta Cisneros. So, the crazy all-action, super powerful, and amazingly gorgeous maid in the world of Black Lagoon, Roberta. So, enough to basically have her own story arc at the end, too.
I forgot about that. I mean, she is a very, very good... I would consider her Kuudere 100%.
Yeah. But in sense, like, when you see, like, her, like, character develop throughout the story, you wonder, is she really a Kuudere because of how violent she can be? And the answer is, yeah, Kuuderes are, just because like Yanderes display violence doesn't mean no one else can. right? Kuuderes they tend to be a little bit more mentally kept together. But until they get thrown into a corner and he needs to be able to break out free or to save someone, save something, they will use any extreme measures necessary. And nothing goes further than what Roberta has to do to be able to protect her loved ones. But she's also very cold. She doesn't respond well to violence. She doesn't respond well to threats. If you threaten her, she will break your ass. If you put a gun to her head, oh, look at that. That gun's now pointed at you. Where did your gun go? She's already taking you out. She is incredibly capable, one of the most exciting characters in Black Lagoon, and goddamn, she can hold herself together.
So I did not obviously consume all of the anime adaptation of Black Lagoon. Wait, well, who did... Madhouse did Black Lagoon?
Madhouse, yes.
Yes. So it's a pretty old property. But I would say this. Roberta is a very, very good character. She is definitely a Kuudere in my books as well. And she reminds me of the Terminator in that, she just keeps coming back. Yep. She just keeps coming back. You fuck with things or people that I care about, you better, bury me 6 feet under, fill it with concrete, and maybe hope that I don't come out.
It's one of those things where it's when you fight an evil villain and, you basically, dismember them, decapitate them, put a stake through their head, set their head on fire, and you're still not sure if they're dead. That's what Roberta is, and she is by far my most favorite character in all of Black Lagoon.
Spoiler alert, she is already my favorite character in Black Lagoon.
It's fucking, oh my god, I love her story arc. It's so good. You are going to love watching Roberta's blood trail when you get to that stage.
Oh, speaking of, if we could go back to your number 9 pick of Yuki, she is so popular of a character, she had her own spin-off series.
Yeah. So, and then again with Roberta as well, it's the third season is literally named Roberta's Blood Trail. It's just, I know it's a certain arc within the story, but to name that whole season, rather than being Black Lagoon 1, Black Lagoon 2, it's Black Lagoon, Roberta's Trail.
And the other week we talked about supporting casts or memorable characters that outshine the main character. I would argue that if you get your own spin-off or your name is on the, anime title, like
Tomoyo, like Yuki, like Roberta. Hey, these are some pretty popular characters.
Some primo Kuudere.
Man. So far, you're in agreements of what I've said so far, right?
I can't say too much about the Clanad one and CC. I don't remember too much.
You would have to have rewatched Code Geass, right?
Yeah, I would have to, honestly. But I can definitely envision someone would say that, so I'm not surprised as much as that's not what I would gravitate towards.
Cool. Well, I think that generally my level of coup appreciation, not that far from what Jason would say. In terms of the next pick, number 5.
Number 6.
I'm not really going.
I see. Sorry.
I'm not ranking them from 10 to 1. I'm just listing them out. So number 5, this one, I know for a fact that Jason loves the shit out of this woman as well. It's Shiki from Garden of Sinners. Again, very similar to the Roberta character type, in which she's incredibly destructive and can wipe you out in a second, but very cold, very reserved. Cold to the point where it's actually very uncomfortable how cold she is, because she's very standoffish, and when you try and talk to her, you can't help but feel that when you talk to her that your life is either in danger or this is something that you want to get yourself out of, no matter what. It happens over the course of every single movie that we watch from the Garden of Sinners series, and again, it's just one of those characters where damn well that she is going to fight tooth and nail over the things that she protects. Again, different from a Yandere, because Yanderes will kill anyone and anything if they get in the way of their love. No, this on the other hand is, if they know that their love is in danger, then they're going to pull all stops and make sure that they can protect whoever it is that's about to get hurt. And it doesn't always necessarily have to be a love interest. It could just be a partner. It could just be a friend. It could be even an acquaintance that you just don't want to see die. And if there's anybody that you would want to have that has the most capable hands in this kind of field, I would pay top dollar for Shiki.
I would as well. I think she is top waifu material
Oh,
slash Kuudere material in my book, 100%. I think one of the most memorable experiences in the whole series of movies that we watched, actually not like next to each other, but we watched it like live, over Discord. There is a build up in the 5th movie, which is hailed usually by many as the best movie of the series, and I agree with that statement. When Shiki arrives, it's like this build up that's just like, yo, she's gonna fucking wreck shit. It's awesome.
I honestly okay, Tomoyo, best girl. Cici, best girl. Yuki Nagato, best girl. But Roberta and Shiki, waifu.
I very much agree with that statement.
The thing is, I would be terrified if I ever were to piss them off, because holy fuck, those two are some of the most violent characters you have ever seen in anime history.
Well, simple. Just don't piss them off,
That's
man.
exactly true, right? Like, right, happy life, happy wife, happy life, right?
Exactly.
Do not piss off a Kuudere waifu.
What's your next one?
Okay, I think we're now venturing into territory where like this is like the tier above, where like I adore these characters, waifu or best girl. Now the one I wanted to focus on first is a bit of an edge case. Do you have high score girl on your list?
Nope.
All right. Akira Ono is one of my picks for a top Kuudere, but I understand it is an edge case. The reason being, she's actually more of like a subtype of Kuudere, which is the Kutsundere.
Doesn't matter. It still counts.
Yes, it counts because, right, for her character is quite unique in the sense that she definitely suffers through a lot of emotional and mental trauma, a lot of disabilities that hold her back to be able to interact with people socially. Like people, she's definitely very popular. She's pretty in her school. She does well in school. A lot of people look up to her, but she doesn't really talk. In fact, like the whole series, she doesn't really say a single word. It's not like Komi, but in a way, she does have social anxiety disorder.
Not just that. I think Komi actually speaks a little bit,
Yeah.
but I would say Ono, right?
Oh, Akira Ono. I would say Ono.
She would make sounds.
Yeah.
That's really the extent of it, really.
She would harumph a lot, and she would like whinge and gurgle a lot, and she uses a lot of sign language. And the reason being is because for her, like, I guess a lot of things in life for her are really cathartic, right? Like trying to make friends, trying to, make appearances, trying to show people that you're such an outstanding girl and people should look up to you. It gets really rather boring for her. But her love interests, there's 2 love interests. One, which is the main character, and the second, which is the most important love interest, is Street Fighter. She absolutely fucking loves video games, and she does whatever she can to be able to break out of the doldrums of real life, enter the world which she feels comfortable. She doesn't have to talk to anybody, but she can show that her heart belongs in this world. And the fact that the other main character also loves playing Street Fighter, hey, double love for her. Now, unlike the other characters, she's not the one which is like super powerful and can protect. But she definitely like. Wait, no, not like physically powerful.
Right. Okay.
But you put a joystick in front of her.
There you go.
Right, and you let her choose her main, which is Zangief.
Grappler.
Fuck.
Ultimate grappler.
Fucking. Oh man. She lives a very, very sort of like tragic story as well because of her very intense and strict upbringing, and all she wants to do is just live life as a young child who loves playing fighting games. And this is like during the fighting game, like the video game boom of the 80s and 90s, where like arcade cabinets started getting smaller, and then you could now get portable consoles you can play at home. And so rather than putting in quarters or 100 yen coins to play Street Fighter, you can play Street Fighter at home. And it's just fun to see all the games they play, because these were the exact same games that I grew up playing as well. And so to see like didn't live vicariously through this young girl, Akira Ono, and just beating up everybody in local Street Fighter tournaments, it was just very heartwarming. It warmed the cockles of my heart.
All right, that's good.
Yeah,
that's what Kuudere should do.
Yeah, I say Kutsundere because she does offer a little bit of like physical, like tantrum-esque, like
pouting.
Exactly. She does beat up her love interest a couple times, but at the same time, like, you know, just she's really like reserved. She's really cute. I did see online though that I also do want to make mention of, and this is like in no way for me to say anything, but there are a lot of people on like certain subreddits that say that she might be autistic, and I am going to go on record and say, don't be so quick to throw people on the spectrum, because it is a disservice to anybody who goes through any level of mental disability. Just because she has social anxiety disorder and she doesn't really talk to people, she has certain ways of reciprocating emotions and reactions, does not mean you can immediately put her on the autism spectrum.
So I will add to that slightly, which is, and this is really only applicable to someone who knows American Sign Language to a great degree, which is, I would argue that Ono doesn't know sign language, but she used gestures to convey her meaning. I know a lot of people will be like, oh, you're just being pedantic. But technically there is a distinction between gestures versus actual using of sign language. So the point that Will is trying to make is still valid and is accurate, which is she is very reserved, very quiet, and she tries basically to use some sort of gesture to indicate what she is trying to feel, or when she pouts and beats people up and does a pile driver in real life.
Yeah, I'm just trying to warn people that we shouldn't be so quick to essentially put the autism label on something when it's something that we don't fully understand, right? What we do understand, though, is that Akira Ono is a very heartwarming character who just needs some love.
I have to say, though, first of all, these are very good picks, but I forgot about, just like how the After Dark one, when I did your predictions for, I forgot about JoJo and stuff like that. Like, I made so amateurish mistakes, and I've already made several. So,
yeah. Well, I think you're gonna be able to guess the next four. I think I'm missing. Okay, there's 1, 2. Yeah, I got 4 left to go. So, the 7th one. And this is something that you actually talked about in last week's episode, because you just finished up. Well, you're about to finish up. You didn't tell me in the episode, but you told me like off mic that you've been finishing up My Little Monster. And so, of course, you know how much I love My Little Monster, and how one of my favorite best girls of all time is none other than Shizuku Mizutani. I'm very certain you have that on your list, because I wouldn't shut the fuck up about her. She's great, smart, very, very pretty, kind of popular, but she, like, again, as most kuderes, keeps reserved, sticks to herself. Because in any case, if there's anybody they need to protect and look after, it's themselves. And then all of a sudden, you know, you find that there's a boy that you're kind of interested in, but he's like the exact opposite of you, but he's also smarter than you. He's not he's a dere, he's a baka dere, basically, because he's incredibly baka, fucking stupid boy. But yeah, we're gonna focus on Mizutani because she is, I think for me, like, the reason why I like her a lot is because she just seems so like real. Like, I feel like the whole point in a lot of SOLs, a lot of like these kind of romance dramas, is that you want to be able to create as real a depiction of characters as possible, and that it's not so hard for you to relate to them. And I'm not saying that I'm a kudere, nor am I saying that I'm any dere type. If anything, I'm a fucking tsundere. But like, when you see like the world through Shizutani's eyes, and how she talks to her friends.
Did you say Shizutani?
Yes, Shizutani, short for Shizuku Mizutani.
There you go.
The look in your eyes, like, wait a minute, did Will just mispronounce someone's name?
No, he just put the first name and last name together. It's fine.
Yeah, Shizuku is like,
false alarm, boys.
Yeah, I got it. Mizutani, Shizuku. It's just warming to see this character grow. It's just a fun journey to see this girl like go from like a book smart know-it-all
robot,
yeah, and like just basically like, why don't I need friends? Why don't I need love? All I have in my books, I need to study and get good grades. And then she meets someone who doesn't have any regard for studying, barely ever goes to school, but for some reason is smarter than her. And then she can see that like it's when like if there was ever like a time to use the adage opposites attract, this is it.
Very much so. And I would add that Shizuku Mizutani, her practicality, her bluntness even, is very realistic in that I can see even myself exhibiting some of those tendencies, and her growth even throughout the limited one cur anime run is still very transformative. But I will say that the manga adds a lot more.
I mean, like, just looking at the cover page of like the first volume of the manga, it's Mizutani holding like a ball and chain, and like the chain is around Haru's neck. It's like, yeah, that is totally coup control. She's using her coup powers to keep this Bakadere in check, but at the same time letting him slowly warm up her heart. It's cute. And she doesn't break down. She doesn't change who she is either. But you can see that even if she tries to keep it that tough exterior, that people in the end are still vulnerable. People still have self-doubt, no matter how confident you are in oneself. And that's where, like, I like that real depiction. I like that this is who, like, Shizuku displays herself to be. She's not. There's no bullshit. It's all real emotion, whether she likes it or not. Now, entering the top 3. Now, I didn't say, of course, that there wasn't going to be a ranking. These are personally 3 of my most favorite characters of all time. We're going to start off with the third best.
I only wrote your number 1 pick prediction.
Right.
So, yeah, let's see. Number 3? Or the bronze?
The bronze place goes to one of my most favorite manga series of all time. Unfortunately, the best girl / waifu in this case could have ranked higher, but some new debutantes have come in and taken the spotlights. I'm talking about Toka Kirishima from Tokyo Ghoul.
I was thinking about that, but I cut that one for another one. I'll explain later.
I'm going to talk about Toka specifically from Tokyo Ghoul, not Tokyo Ghoul Re.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, okay. Mm-hmm.
Right. There is a bit of a spoiler to that, but I'll explain why I liked her in the first part. Because, bro, like, I've talked to you about how I like Roberta, talked to you how I like Shiki from Garden of Sinners. Toka's the same thing. Toka will absolutely fuck you up.
Didn't you say that when I like Toka, you're like, oh, you basic bitch? I think you literally said that to me.
Yes. But sometimes, basic beats basic, and I have to agree sometimes.
Back to basics, right?
Yeah. But if you were to say, like, the best girl, like, again, this is in the realms of Kuudere's too. If we're talking about, like, in the realms of, like, best girl overall, well, there's someone else that takes the place, and it's obviously not her either. It's not even from Tokyo Ghoul. It's Power, by the way. Power is my number 1 girl.
Fuck.
Right
now. Oh, shit. No, sorry. Okay. So, let's go. Let's rewind.
Toka is great. I like Toka a lot. And as much as I've said before, yes, like, who else are you supposed to like from the world of Tokyo Ghoul other than the main female character? And her name isn't Rize, because Rize is the other main girl that you should like too, blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, there's a reason why they're popular. It's because they are actually good characters. I didn't quite like how she progressed in Tokyo Ghoul Re, but we're only focusing on Tokyo Ghoul. Hard as nails, and is extremely loyal to those around her, particularly those that are related to the Antique Coffee Shop. I just have to say that, yeah, she is definitely broken on the inside, but that doesn't, like, she doesn't use tape to mask over her imperfections. I think she really recognizes who she is and what flaws she carries. The number 1 fact is that she's a ghoul living in the world where there are people trying to kill her, but at the same time she has to kill others to stay alive. Like, it's just trying to balance that rationality, that law of what is good and what is evil. And just because she is technically on the evil side, are her actions always going to be evil, or can she do enough to put herself on the good side? And then, yeah, she falls in love. But it's really cute the way she falls in love.
I like her character development even throughout Re. I think less so with Re, obviously.
You know exactly what I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you're talking about. But hey, she's an awesome character within a property that has plenty of awesome characters. Let's just say.
Yep. Now, on to number 2. And I have a feeling you have her as number 1, and I would agree that to an extent she would be. Everybody here knows how much I love domestic girlfriend, and how
That was my number one.
and everyone knows that. Man, any other day it could have been her, but in this instance, unfortunately, Rui Tachibana is my number 2 waifu. She is a waifu. She's of legal age, so that's why she's not best girl. She's waifu. Why do I like her a lot? I can't really say much, man. Like it's just personal preference, man. The cute blue hair, the shy exterior, but also like the cold interior when she like decides that like, oh, just because I had sex with you doesn't mean we're in love. You don't talk to me, don't act like you know who I am, and all of a sudden they show up at the same family reunion. It's like, hey, don't be weird about this, okay? Just because we're related now by not by blood but through marriage, like through step marriage. Hey, like just be who you are. But then she slowly warms up, and it's really really cute, and it's like, oh, I really want to see more of this really Tachibana relationship. But because it's called domestic girlfriend, it's a whole conflict of pseudo like God, it's a mess.
It's a love octagon or whatever you want to call it. Tetrahedron, decahedron.
Yeah, it's a step incest kind of thing. I mean, hey, don't at me, right? I didn't write this shit, but I also love this shit. If you're gonna be angry about anybody, just be angry at yourself for not appreciating what domestic girlfriend's all about. Shit, Jason and I watched the first episode. It was fucking fantastic.
And guess what? I actually really like Yui Tachibana just from one episode alone. So, you know, like.
And blue hair, right?
Blue hair,
like
check.
She matches the de facto description of what a Kuudere is.
Is she hot? Yeah, check.
Yeah. Can she cook? Oh fuck yeah, she can cook.
Oh, does it clearly show that she is cold on the outside, but maybe if you break through that exterior, she's warm and fuzzy as fuck? I can even tell that from one episode alone.
I'm smiling just even talking about Rui, and it sucks that she's only number 2 and not number 1. But yo, number 2 is a very, very high place to be in this world of best girl waifus, especially in the Kuudere landscape. But there has to be only one. And I realize you might not have put this one down because it's hard. I can't look beyond my most favorite anime of all time and not talk about my best girl of all time. And it has to be Akashi from Tatami Galaxy. I mean, bro, like you've seen the wallpaper on my phone, right? Like you've seen the wallpaper on my fucking like look, it's Akashi over here, right? It's Akashi over there. She's everywhere. I fucking love this girl. I was even dropping hints the whole day as like, this is Akashi, and she's like, oh yeah, like, oh damn it, I forgot about her. But yeah,
I did forget about her. So
yeah, but I mean, like again, it's like there's so much to pick from that like it would be hard to even get. Like you got 6, right? You got 6 of them. You got Clannad. You got
I got 5 actually.
You got Clannad, Haruhi, Garden Sinners, Tokyo Ghoul.
I did not get Tokyo Ghoul.
You got Domestic Girlfriend, My Little Monster. So you didn't get Code Geass. You didn't get Black Lagoon, High Score Girl, Tatami Galaxy. Okay. Well, hey, no, 50%. That's fucking impressive. I doubt I even got any more on yours because, like, the Yandere part I felt was going to be a bit harder to see if there's much correlation between our lists. But Akashi is just a wonderful woman. She's just great. Like, if I had to waifu any of these characters, it would be Akashi. Because there's just something so enigmatic about her. You just don't really know what goes on her mind. Like, does she like you? Does she not like you? Is she just there to tell you that you exist in her reality and that's it? And, like, you're nothing more than just someone who walks around like an NPC, like a side character? Or do you actually get to gravitate towards being something that can sit by her at the lunch table? Or maybe join her at her after school club? Or go for walks along the lake? It's you just don't know. It's slowly, like, but surely, you get to see the character grow alongside you. I mean, like, the fact that I say I, it's because of the fact that the main character is called Watashi, which is I. So you can place yourself in that main character's shoes and enjoy that journey walking side by side with Akashi. It's a really beautiful story. And I think that the story is further accentuated by just this wonderfully composed character that is Akashi. You know, very well drawn, very well spoken. Definitely fawning over her right now. Like, I'm sorry, Rui. As much as I loved eloping with you, I gotta have to go back to my real first love, and that would be Akashi from my favorite anime of all time, Tatami Galaxy.
And that is Will's top 10
This was hard, by the
Kuudere
way.
list.
This is hard. I mean, like, I love every one of these characters, and they are all deserving of where they need to be in the top 10. But if it had to be a number one, bro, like, it was pretty hard to fight between Akashi and Rui Tachibana.
All right, so I'll go over the order in which Will said the Kuudere picks.
The first 7, not necessarily in any particular order, but the last 3, like, those would be like the top 3 of my Kuudere best girl waifus.
So, in order of appearance, I guess, or in order of mention,
Yeah.
Clanad and Clanad After Stories, Tomoyo Sakagami, The Melancholy of Harumi Suzumiya's Yuki Nagato, Code Geass's Cece, Black Lagoon's Roberta, Garden of Sinners Shiki Ryugi, High Score Girl Akira Ono, My Little Monster Shizuku Mizutani,
Who we will call Shizutani from now on.
I guess we have to now.
I'll call her that.
Sure, no problem. Tokyo Ghoul, Toka, Kirishima, Domestic Girlfriend, Rui Tachibana, and number 1, queen of Will's top 10 Kuuderes is Akashi from the Tatami Galaxy.
Just to quickly run over as well, I do have some picks for male Kuuderes. If we ever do a husbando list, but I'm just going to quickly mention them. Seki K from Disastrous Life of Seki K, Jin from Samurai Champloo, Shine Nozen from 86, Jotaro Kujo from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and of course my favorite Kuudere husbando of all time, Hatsuharu Soma from Fruits Basket.
Okay, so now my cross-reference list. So I obviously did not get half of what Will.
But you got Clanad, so you got Tomoyo, you got Haruhi Suzumiya, so you got Yuki Nagato. You also got Garden of Sinners, Shiki Ryugi. You got Domestic Girlfriends, Rui Tachibana.
And that's it.
And you also got Shizutani's from My Little Monster.
Oh, yes.
So you got those 5.
So
who were the other 5 you had then?
So I originally also had...
I also did have like 7 other names on here, but they were not in my top 10. So I want to see if you got those.
So other than the 5 that you mentioned just now, Fruits Basket's Saki Hanajima was on my list.
Do you know who else was on that too? Machi Kurugi as well. The girl at the very end. She was also very close. But yeah, Saki would have been my number 1 from Fruits Basket.
Violet Evergarden from Violet Evergarden.
Yeah. It was tough to miss her out, but I saw her for other things other than being a Kuudere.
Riza Hawkeye from Full Metal Alchemist or Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
Yeah, she's cool. I could have a dinner with her.
Satsuki Kiryuin from Kill la Kill. Fuck. I cannot pronounce her name correctly.
Satsuki that is a hard one. Kiryuin, I think.
Yes, okay. Kiryuin.
Good character, though. Good character.
And then I thought you would pick Rin Shima from Yuru Camp.
I had her on the cusp of the top 10 list.
So even though I only got half of them,
you weren't that far off.
I wasn't that far off, right?
I mean, the other people I had on here was Kyoka Izumi from Bungo Stray Dogs. I had Snick. I had Anuma Neteru from Wonder Egg, and then of course, you know, the other 2 that I would have had in any other instance would be Vivi from Vivi's Fluorite Eye Song and Saber from Fate Stay Night. But there just wasn't enough space to put them on the list.
So I'm gonna let you in on a little secret, Will. I created my own top 10, not ranked Kuuderes. Only 1 is the same with your top 10.
Oh, really?
Garden of Sinners.
Yuki's okay. Shiki Yuki.
Everything else
is completely different.
That's
the thing, right? Like that's why these lists are incredibly subjective. Like, but the main objective thing is that we all have an appreciation for certain dairy types, no matter what shape, color, size, creed, form. It's a huge world when it comes to Kuuderes, and I am kind of scared to see how matched our thoughts on Yanderes are. I actually don't really have much of a list. I just see what I like and then go from there. But we can look over your Yandere list after we catch a break.
Yeah. Before we get into our break, though, Will, is there anything you sort of want to add to what I said about the Kuuderes or your choices or your picks? Or
well, I'll tell you this. 5 of these Kuuderes would not have been on the list if you had asked me 6 months ago. I wouldn't have watched High Score Girl. I wouldn't have watched Garden Sinners. I wouldn't have watched Melancholy of How He Used to Be, My Little Monster, Clanad. Like, bro, like a lot of these things would not have been there had I started diversifying my tastes in anime and manga. Right? Like, I didn't watch any Kyoto Animation stuff, and now two of my best girls are from Kyoto Animation properties.
Yeah, so
with Violet Evergarden being a close, like 11th or 12th.
yeah, I was surprised, but hey, that's why these lists are subjective. So no one is right, no one is wrong. It's all about
I forgot Rinshima as well. Rinshima, literally, like,
Yeah,
only
I
watched
know.
her last week.
I know. So yeah, it's all about love and appreciation for, in this case, female characters in anime and manga. And in this case, Will has just listed his top 10 Kuuderes. After the break, we will get into my top 10 Yanderes.
Catch you all later. Later. Welcome back, everyone, to the second half of today's After Dark episode. This is episode 7 of the After Dark series. Hope everyone has calmed down and rested their cool hearts, because we're going to go into a lustful rampage when I'm talking about the second half, which covers Jason's top 10 Yanderes. As always, this is Will, and we got the new Yandere master, Jason. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing all right. I need to prep myself, maybe sharpen my knives, because I'm about to go knee deep into my top 10 Yandere picks. But before I do that, there is one property that I need to give honorable mention, and 3 characters that I need to eliminate from the get-go. So I'll start with the honorable mention, which actually is not an anime or a manga, but a video game. Doki Doki Literature Club.
Oh my god. That didn't make the list. Damn. Okay.
So I'll just mention that, because I think mention anything more is spoilerific. So
if you haven't played the game, check it out.
It's awesome.
It's on Steam, I think.
I think it's also free.
Yes, they did end up adding on like pay elements to it, but to enrich the story, I think there was like a few other things they add into it. But yeah, dude, it's an amazing game. It's an amazing game.
It's the reason why it's an honorable mention is because it is not an anime or a manga.
Yeah.
But if that wasn't my own personal stipulation or restriction, it would be on the top 10 list 100%.
Yeah, it wasn't on my list either, but I was just like, man, like if it was on yours, I would not be surprised at all.
Also, it's very spoilerific, right? So,
exactly.
So I didn't want to cross that line.
Right. So that's the honorable mention. Who are the ones that did make the cut?
So when I were to create my list, there were 3 female characters in particular, that I was just like, you're all dead to me. Tokyo Ghoul Ri, Toru, Mutsuki, or
I think it's Mutsuki.
fuck, I got this wrong the first time around, and now I'm getting it wrong again. But you know why I don't remember this person's name? Because she's dead to me. I don't give a fuck about her.
Yeah, she was one of the more infuriating characters from Tokyo Ghoul. But hey,
a good Yandere, but not like my favorite at all. The other one that I feel like I need to kind of say is Misa Amane from Death Note. I don't give a fuck about her either. I mean, she's okay as a character within the Death Note franchise. She did her job, so to speak, her role.
Not necessarily a hardcore yandere, more than she's like a hardcore fanatic cultist, right? Like, I know there in this sense there isn't that much difference, but I feel the same. I feel that Misa's an overplayed, overhyped character, and honestly, there's much more to Death Note than just Misa's character.
But probably arguably the most well-known yandere of all time stems from an anime series, Mirai Nikki, known as Future Diary, and the pink-haired person that I'm talking about is Yuno Gasai.
Now, whenever you type in yandere on like a GIF search on your phone, or if you're just looking up certain characters of that archetype, you know damn well that Yuno Gasai will pop up with her machete and her lustful, like, deep, dark eyes staring like under her fluorescent pink hair. But I agree. There's definitely a lot more depth to some of the other characters out there that fall under the yandere tree. And I definitely want to hear who made the cut for your top 10. Now I know you said you got them ranked, but not necessarily like hard ranked. Like they're more like some of them are this tier, some are that tier, and then you'll have like a de facto number 1 or maybe number 3, like top 3.
I have a personal favorite and a queen, if you will.
Yandere queen. Fuck. Okay.
Right. So, but Yunogasai, Misa, and Toru are in a tier of their own called "She's Dead to Me" tier, because when I was going to do the Yandere list, I was like, these 3 people are going to be as far fuck away from my list as much as possible. So there is only 2 pink-haired people in my top 10 Yandere list, which I will start with my number 10, or first to talk about. It is from a spring 2020 anime. That's the first season. The second season is actually airing right now. It is produced by Cry Games Picture, based on the Japanese role-playing game of the same name developed by Cry Games. It is Eriko Kurasai from Princess Connect Redive. Now,
yep, couldn't have guessed that one because I haven't watched either first or second season.
So Eriko is what you would define as, in my mind, the classic definition of a yandere. The interaction with the main character was male main character kind of bumped into her coincidentally and kind of helped her. And she interpreted this as a declaration of love. Furthermore, if you are a yandere and you work at a hospital, bruh. Yeah. Oh, when you walk around with an axe that you drag, which you clearly have the strength to lift, but you're just going to drag it just cuz. And you also have like a little snickering like, "Coos, coos, coos." And you say that all the time. That's a yandere right there.
Yeah, I haven't watched this show, but like those are definitely the archetypes of what make a yandere. That's a pretty terrifying character.
And in a very weird way, it's kind of funny. Because like
but the overall vibe of Princess Connect in the series itself, like what is it? Is it a comedy drama? Is it like a slice of life? Or is it just like not really a specific genre? It's just a lot of different things, and like you appreciate characters more than the theme.
To my knowledge, the game itself is a gacha game, so take that as you will. Right. But at least in the anime, there is like drama, romance, kind of. It's your typical isekai kind of show. It's like a mixed bag of stuff, as you would expect with a video game series. So this character, I would say, is probably the most memorable one of the entire series for me. Just mainly because her interactions with the main male character is kind of funny. So, and she is just yandere through and through.
Yeah, it sounds about right. It sounds like what a yandere would sound like.
Oh, and she has horns.
That part I don't know if it falls under yandere, but we'll say it's worthy of being on that list. So that's number 10.
All right, number 9 is a series that has announced a 6th season. The 5th season obviously finished airing, and they announced the 6th season afterwards. There's multiple movies and so forth. It is based on the manga of the same name by Kohei Horikoshi.
Not bad.
Produced by Bones.
Yep.
My Hero Academia. Which character?
It's the blood girl, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Himiko Toga.
Yep.
So I put her on the list because she's very yandere. And it's not really spoilery because the moment she shows up, you're like, bruh, she's got some mad issues. And her love is so twisted, but she is also very crafty because normally, right, and this is very broadly speaking.
It's a very generic way of describing, right? Like
when you're a yandere, you just go guns blazing, like
destroy everything in sight,
like a straight line, like a beeline.
It's usually whenever you see the cold, calculative yanderes, that's like those are the scary motherfuckers.
But Toga is more crafty.
Yeah,
she manipulates, she deceives people just to get a bit of that blood, bro. And,
yeah.
And that's kind of messed up because her power is kind of governed by the use of blood. And then just that thought, like, if you're afraid of needles, like I think you are, Will.
Yep.
I'm not afraid of needles. I used to donate blood all the time. But there's no doubt that blood, hematology, and all that stuff is like, people have fear of it. I totally get it. So she is definitely very evil, very yandere, and number 9 on that list.
I like her a lot too, though. From the My Hero Academia franchise, I certainly hope it gets better. I haven't watched season 5 yet, but season 4 was a bit of a letdown.
I think I mentioned this before, but I think the second half of season 4 was not great, like really not great. So I don't know what season 5 will be like.
The ratings on my enemy list aren't too good.
So
I think it's high 7s compared to like the usual low to mid 8s it gets.
Yeah. So we'll see how that goes. I don't know if we will finish all of season 5 or parts of it or any of it, but you know, Toga's a really good yandere.
Yeah, definitely like another one of those, if you care more about supporting characters and not like much of the main character, Toga's one of them. You should like her a lot. She's fucking awesome.
And I think in terms of cosplaying and in terms of within My Hero Academia, she's basically the yandere to speak of, or the only one really.
And despite being like incredibly violent, she's also like mentally like well put together. So she's like not just going around and hacking people apart. Like she actually takes time to consider her moves.
She knows what she's doing.
And that's the terrifying thing about a yandere.
And she does it. So, yep. The number 8 pick. I'm actually going through this rather quickly, but I think the later entries
There's going to be more time for you to like sit down and like explain why they're like top 3 or S tier for you.
This is based off of a visual novel of the same name by 07th Expansion. There are multiple seasons, all done by different studios. I think either season 5 or season 6 just ended. It is, at least the first season, is done by none other than Studio Dean, Higurashi When They Cry. Rena Ryugu.
Oh, that wasn't okay. I did have Higurashi on there.
Right, but I think what you're thinking of, I actually considered as well.
Shion?
Yeah, but due to certain reasons that I think you would know, or at least I'll tell you later.
Yeah.
I picked Rena first, mainly because of several things.
But the thing is, it's the same franchise, right? Like, there's a lot to pick from that franchise.
Psycho girls everywhere. I mean, I don't think there is a non-psycho girl that you can choose from.
And no pink hair either.
No, she is
no pink hair. Like,
she's orange hair.
Even Shion is green hair.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's just the fact that if everybody's psycho, you don't need to have pink hair to show that you are. So everybody else is fucking crazy.
So why Rena, in my mind, is horrific and psychotic yandere is because she labels herself as the childhood friend, the cute childhood friend that, believe it or not, loves to dumpster dive. So you're thinking like, oh, it's just this innocent, aloof girl, and she does have that very innocent persona until shit hits the fan and you realize how fucked up she is. And the other thing I like about Rena a lot is that I can say a lot about her without really spoiling too much, but she is not actually that one-dimensional of being two-faced. There's actually a little bit more that is implied, and as you read on in the manga or play the visual novel or watch the anime, which I've only done the manga, I have not watched the anime, but I heard many good things about the Studio Dean one, despite the fact it's done by GAP's favorite animation studio, Studio Dean. Not sarcastic at all. She is quite scary. What else is there to say?
Well, to be fair, a lot of the other characters are also terrifying too. Like Rika.
Yeah, of course. They're all scary, bro.
It's, oh man. Like, the thing is, right, it doesn't look fantastic, but in terms of like Studio Dean stuff, I will have to say that Higurashi is one of the best.
If you were to give me a bunch of red bean buns, I would need to think twice.
I will also have to say that, like, as far as EDs go, Higurashi's ED is up there for me in terms of favorite EDs, along with the ED for Black Lagoon.
I see. I actually don't know the ED for Higurashi because I've never watched
It's
it.
not even so much the music; it's just what you see. Like if you do watch it, you'll understand what I mean because you've seen the EDs for Black Lagoon, right?
Yeah, it's.
It gives that vibe.
I see.
Yeah, it's very dark and empty, and it just helps to basically nurture that psychotic environment that all the characters live in the world of Higurashi. So honestly, any pick from it would have been great. So I respect the Rena pick. I don't think it would have been bad if you picked anyone else. To be fair, like
I do think though. Sorry.
like the Shion Mion twins, anyone would have been fine. Rena's fine. Rika's fine. They're all like everything is like ugh. Like the whole world is fucking crazy. Like please play the game. It's free on Steam or just watch it.
I also think that Rena, in terms of her weapon of choice, looks quite unique.
Yes.
And I
right.
think that deserves extra mention because I looked at that and I was like, yeah, that looks that is a weapon, and if you were to come at me with that, that's pretty fucked up. And it's not your typical design too, which I love. So
man, that was only number 8 too. Shit. Okay. I can't wait to see who else you have on your top 7.
number 7 is based on the manga of the same name by Lin Okamoto. Will and I only watched one episode of the series, but it was enough for me to base my decision on this based off of other snippets that I saw on YouTube. The manga is completed with 12 volumes. The manga adaptation is done by Dark Horse Comics, and the anime premiered in summer 2004 by ARMS.
Is it Lucy?
Lucy in Elfin lead.
Yeah, I had that on my list as well. But like you said, one episode was enough, man.
How about 10 minutes?
Yeah. It fucking... God, that was such a horrific 10 minutes. And the fact that this is like done with the grittiness of like mid 2000s animation quality as well, where like if you saw blood on screen, it was like horrifyingly real. It was gross. Just see the level
completely uncensored, all for your viewing pleasure.
And the crazy thing is, I even took a scan of like the first like volume just to see how it compares. Dude, the anime is way more violent. It's way more ridiculous.
It's so scary. And when you realize sort of Lucy's demeanor, I guess, later on in the anime, it's just you realize this person can do so much harm to everyone. And if you were sitting next to this person, you'll be like, please don't kill me, please don't kill me, please don't kill me. I know you might like me, but please don't kill me, please don't. Or please don't kill everyone else. How about that?
And if you are going to kill everyone else, don't do it in front of me.
But you know she will.
It's such a terrible... Dude, like that 10 minutes was incredibly unsettling. I mean, like I'm always down for like edgy, violent shit, but when it gets to the point where like it's gory, it was a very tough 10 minutes.
Like I've seen a lot of violence and gore in live action movies and stuff, and Elfen Lied I wouldn't say is the most violent or the most gory.
Not at all.
But when I watched those first 10 minutes, I was like...
It's the context, man. It's the first thing you see.
Yep, and I was like, straight up, yep, that's fucked up. I can stomach it, but I know some people definitely can't. Like they would leave the room.
You open up the first minute, oh, there's a naked girl coming up because they were doing a human experiment. I wonder where this is going to go. And then it's exactly how it's not going to go.
Yeah, it's exactly how you think it will go.
Oh, my God. Good pick. I had that on my list. I was pretty sure that like I was of the same mind. It's like you don't need to watch that much of Elfen Lieds to know what the fuck is going on. And Lucy is a wonderful Yandere pick because, bro, she's fucking terrifying.
She would be higher on the list, but I did not consume enough for me to sort of say. And I actually semi-worry that if I do consume either the manga or the anime, I will be like, yeah, she's really scary, but she's not a very good character. That's what I worry. But based off of...
too one-dimensional, right?
Exactly. So, but she will fuck shit up.
Yeah, dude. Initial shock factor, definitely up there. So, hey, great pick for number 7.
My number 6 pick is based off of the manga of the same name by Megane Mihoshi, produced in 2017 by EMT Squared. There's no English manga adaptation to my knowledge. It is Renai Boken, Love Tyrant, and the character in question is Akane Hiyama. Will doesn't really know that much about this character.
I've seen her name on a lot of lists, but I haven't watched Love Tyrant, so I can't say much about it. But I'm sure you've got plenty to say about why she ranks as a top 6 for you.
So she actually is a character that is not necessarily your straight yandere with like any disregard for like, you know, just human society and the way things work. She is a high school student who, you know, on the surface seems Mrs. Popular and Mrs. Idol within the school. However, it turns out that she belongs to a clan of assassins that can basically hide and reveal swords out of fucking thin air. Okay. Then you find out that she actually really loves the male MC. And then she also really loves the male MC. And to make matters even worse, if you know the plot line of Love Tyrant, it's basically about another character who is an angel trying to figure out what love is. So they have a kiss note, which is basically the kissing version of Death Note, and Akane, the male main character, and Guru, I think, or Guri, which is the angel, they are in this weird quasi relationship trying to figure things out. And Akane's presence is the most memorable thing about that show and is the best thing about that show.
The thing with, like, I mean, as we talk about these yanderes, right? It's like you think you know yanderes until you realize you actually don't know enough about yanderes, because there's always another level beyond the hysteria and psychopath powers that they display. Like, I mean, like we talked about and like, unfortunately you didn't make the list, but like you can see like
what can do.
Yes,
if you
exactly.
Consumed the property through and
it
through.
gets crazier and crazier and crazier, and that's literally the progression of a yandere.
But the reason why I like Akane so much is, in a very weird way, she is one of the more believable yanderes that in real life I can be like, yeah, given the circumstances, yeah, if we were together forever, because obviously you're stuck with her for life, she ain't a bad choice. Also, furthermore, within the anime, you see some progression that she doesn't just harm/kill for the love and affection of the male main MC, but she is also willing to sacrifice, which is something that is not really typical of yanderes in terms of self-sacrifice in order for your love interest to maybe live a good life. So you're foregoing your own love in order for, the male main character to live on. And I think as a yandere, that's quite rare in general.
Now, how is the show Love Tyrant itself?
It's a 7. It's a solid 7. I would say, though, other than Akane, it's very generic. Very generic. But Akane really does pull through in terms of,
like, it's enough of a character to be like, you know what? Like, forget that's a 7. Just enjoy the show.
I enjoyed the show mainly because of her, and I finished the One Curse season.
Yeah, but you still got to be critical about the show too, right? Like,
Absolutely,
you have to look at it as objectively as possible, and sometimes a character doesn't save everything, but it definitely does enhance the enjoyment of a show.
Now, maybe on the manga side, because I don't know, because I didn't read it, it might be more intricate. If there was a second season, which why would you? I mean, let's be frank. Other than that one season, I don't think that there would be season 2 onwards, right? But it's good. Akane is very good.
Now we're entering into some deep, dark territory. I think this is their number 4 now?
Number 5.
Number 5. Now you're in that top 5 now.
Of all the yanderes on my list, this one is the most perverted. And it is in an anime all about being perverted or being pure. It is an anime that is based off of the light novel series of the same name. Oh my god, I'm not going to be able to recite this. Okay, but it's written by Hirotaka Atagi and illustrated by Eto Shimozuki. The anime premiered in 2015, produced by JC Staff. summer of 2015. I am not going to pronounce this full name, but it's basically Shimoneta.
It's a long-ass name.
It's a long-ass name. Will, can you...
Shimoneta, a boring world where the concept of dirty jokes doesn't exist.
And the person in question...
Do you want the Japanese version as well?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Shimoneta toru gainen ga shonzai shinai taikutsu no sekai.
Right. The
Or
character...
Shimoseka, as officially abbreviated.
I'm just going to call it Shimoneta, though.
Yeah.
The woman in question is Ana Nishikomiya. And she is hella perverted, bro. She's also hella yandere, bro. She is the president of the student council in a world where anything perverted, anything lewd is like off limits, illegal. Okay. Anna's parents are kind of advocates of this kind of censorship of everything perverted, and they are like this politician that is advocating even like all these bands, headbands, and collars that people have to wear, that when they detect something even remotely perverted, you get locked up.
I mean, the tags for Shimonetsu on Wikipedia is dystopian sex comedy.
And guess what? It is a dystopian sex comedy. But what is not comedic is how Anna can fuck shit up and how perverted she is. I can't go into spoilers. If you want to YouTube snippets of it, be my guest, because...
Or just watch the whole damn thing.
Or watch the whole damn thing, because it's really entertaining in general. But Anna is just... Some of the words that she uses, or at least based on the subtitles, I'm like, wow, wow.
Yeah, not gonna lie, I had Anna on my list prediction, but I gotta admit, I haven't watched Shimoneta. I just know a lot about it, and it's a disservice to myself and the community that I haven't watched Shimoneta yet. So I definitely will catch up on it at some points.
I will spoil just a little bit, which is she bakes cookies for the student council. And then
I know about this.
This one of the characters asked, "Oh, what did you put in it? It tastes amazing." And she said, "Love." And then everyone was a little confused. And then she elaborated on that. And I'll leave you to it, guys. All right? You can find out the answer to that question.
Shimoneta, Not So Boring World. Go check that shit out, right? So that was number 5. And Shimoneta itself is a pretty good place to look for some weird psychopaths. So I can't imagine what you have for 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1.
When your world is crafted by... Oh, no, sorry. When your world is filled with fucked up degenerates and no one is a good person, how can you find happiness, Will?
This is Durara, right?
No. It's based off of a manga of the same name by Tomiyaki Kagisora. The English manga is published by Yen Press. There's 10 volumes. I have all 10. And the anime was produced in 2018 by Ezoa. Happy Sugar Life. The character in question is Sato Matsuzaka. This is one of, I think, the 2 pink-haired people on my list.
Yeah, actually, everyone else so far that didn't have pink hair.
No, Lucy, I think, has pink hair.
Lucy, yes, has pink hair.
So
Yep.
those are the 2 pink-haired people on my list, with Happy Sugar Life. Oh my god. So all of these, they're kind of like, yo, that's fucked up. This girl's crazy mad about this person and is gonna kill people. But when it's somewhat grounded in reality, it's kind of unsettling, because when you see the progression of not only this character, Sato, but all the characters, and you're just like, none of these people are redeemable. Like, all of this is fucked up. Does a lot of things happen? Yes and no. Does Elfin Leeds Lucy fucks a lot of people's shit up? Absolutely. In Happy Sugar Life, it's anything but happy and sugar. It's sugar-free.
And so therefore life sucks.
Yeah. And furthermore, the main character.
So it's a set artificial sweetener life.
Exactly. It really is. What was the artificial sugar that that you use in Splenda. Yeah. It's basically
we both knew at the same time.
It's basically Splenda. So there's only one character in all of Happy Sugar Life that I would say is even remotely close to being good/pure. And unfortunately for her, everyone revolves around her. And she is so innocent and cute, which is the love interest for Sato and a lot of people, that Sato and a lot of people are willing to do some really, really, really fucked up shit. And no one is happy. Everyone is miserable. But one thing that I cannot deny is that she's a really good yandere and one of my favorites. Despite the fact that I don't think the anime is that great, I think the manga is better. So, yeah, well, anything to say about that?
No. I mean, I keep saying it, but it seems that the standard of yandere just goes up exponentially. So I fear that 3, then 2, and I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to handle number 1.
Yeah, we'll get there. Don't worry.
Yeah.
So, when you eat a lot of sugar, you get fat. You might say you might have tendencies to binge eat a lot, but this person is not fat or obese whatsoever, but has a huge appetite. Tokyo Ghoul and Tokyo Ghoul Rize Kamishiro, based off of the manga of the same name by So Yoshida, published in English by Viz Media, and Studio Pierrot made the anime adaptation. There's Route A as well, but let's don't worry about it. Just the manga's great. Rize, though, she's great. I don't think actually she has that much, I guess, presence in terms of like her showing up, but her influence to Ken basically, and just savagery, or all the things you hear about Rize, like, you know, after the fact, or like her reputation and stuff. It's just mad scary, bro.
Anytime she's mentioned within the ghoul sphere, she evokes nothing but total destruction.
Just think about it. Ghouls in this world of Tokyo Ghoul are like monsters that eat humans and are scary to the general public. But even within the ghoul community, Rize, known as the binge eater, scares the living shit out of everyone.
Yeah, to the point where like she alone is so powerful that she can evict every single ghoul out of a ward. And if anyone were to step on her land, like she would know. So no one dares do that shit because she's not above killing other ghouls. Fuck, she's a binge eater. She'll do whatever she takes to be able to eat and enjoy her own life.
She gives no fucks other than liking novels. But yes, like, she gives very little fucks about anyone's life other than her own.
Yeah. So that's the thing. Like, as far as dere types go, when we say dere, they don't necessarily have to have a love interest. Rather, they can just display the characteristics and personality types of that. And like, to be fair, Rize does have a love interest.
Yes.
It's herself.
And there's also another person tangentially.
Yeah.
But when we say deres, your love struck, your lovey-dovey, but we never said who is it towards.
Yeah.
Of course, the 99% of it is towards a character. But in this case, it's hard to argue that there is anyone actually that she would put as her equivalent in terms of love and affection and just hierarchy in general.
Rather, she, like, at most, she may respect you. And that's, like, in her way, a form of displaying love.
Look, if Rize were to respect me, normal, mortal human being, I'll be like, did I just win the lotto? What the fuck just happened?
You're puppy chow. You're food. I'm food.
I'm food. We're all food.
Yeah. Rize is terrifying, but also extremely gorgeous.
And she
is also voiced by Kanahana, so
in many cases would normally be
the perfect woman.
The top 10, top 1, top 2, but in this case it has to be top 3. But
Jesus.
Nothing but love for Rize.
Rize is fucking a powerful
Also, she has purple hair. Can we just talk about that?
Let's just talk about the purple hair. very good character. I absolutely fucking love her. And like I said, yeah, her presence is like not always there, but it's missed when she's not on the screen or on the page. You're like, I want to see more Rize. And you never really hope, or like, if she's gonna be alive, is she gonna be dead, is she gonna be like hungry, is she gonna be full, like, or happy or sad? No, you just want to know if she's going to grace the presence of you. Is she just gonna show up and talk to you?
And even when she's not there, people still talk about her, or her actions or her attitude has an impact on whatever is taking place at that moment in time when she's not even there.
Yeah, human, ghoul, dead or living, everyone speaks the name of Rize with caution, because she is a terrifying monster. But goddamn, is she gorgeous. And they couldn't have picked a better voice actress to do her voice as well.
That's the scary part. I always picture Kanahana being this cute, bubbly person, and she is. But her Rize portrayal is one of the few things that I would say the anime adaptation did flawlessly.
Is your second or first choice a character that's also voiced by Kanahana?
What is it?
I was going to say Narako from Monogatari.
Nope.
Ah, okay.
So, she's not even on here. My second, which actually I labeled as my personal favorite, is based off of the light novel series of the same name by Kugane Maruyama. Season 1, 2, 3 is available now. Season 4 and a movie has already been announced. They're all produced by Studio Madhouse. The anime property is called Overlord.
Damn, she's fine.
And Albedo is
fine as fuck, but holy shit.
Waifu, 100% waifu up there. Like, forget about Yandere, Kuudere, Dandere, Tsundere. She is just up there, period, on my personal list. I even wrote her as my personal favorite. Like, she's up there. Like, you get an angel kind of demon.
An angel of death, essentially, yeah.
Yes, who is also supposedly super smart, super capable, can run an evil organization, quote unquote, and reigns supreme over everyone except Momogan, Eins und Ghoul. Gon. I can never pronounce it well.
It's Eins Urugun. But we'll just call him Momo.
Yeah, Momo. And Momogan. And just think about her love for him, which is she wants to have his babies, which is already like under list of Yandere priorities is probably high up there. Okay. And then if I were to ever meet her, I'll be like, but he's a lich. Like, he's not flesh and bones, bro. But at that point, I would not even mention that question because I don't want to get fucked up. Because she wrecks fools, bro.
It's also just so poetic that, like, in this realm of the world, she's a succubus. She's an all-powerful, not just physically and in terms of, like, exuding, like, dominance over the physical world, but, like, she got some tendencies that need to be filled, and unfortunately, Momonga... Well, fortunate for him, unfortunate for everyone else. Everybody wants to be wifing that powerful woman up, but it seems that like she only has eyes for Momonga, which makes sense because Momonga is the most powerful person there is, and like if you need to satiate her lust and desire, like, bro, like you should leave, otherwise like, she will fuck you up.
So I'm gonna spoil the first 5 minutes of the first episode of season 1, which is the male main character about to spend his last minutes on this online game that he's been a part of, and the server shut down. So he was just going to be like, yeah, I'm just going to chill before the server shut down and just call it a night. And then he looks at the character bio for Albedo, and on the bottom it says straight up, she's a bitch. And he's like, that's not cool. So I'll tell you what, she loves me. Cool. Just call it a day. Oh boy.
Challenging your own fate to your own destiny. He got his wishes.
Yeah, and more than he bargained for.
If there is a Yandere you want on your side, it has to be Albedo.
100%.
Right.
And you know she can take care of you. Like real talk.
Bro, no, she will take care of anything. Like, there's so many scenes where you just stand there and you're like, I have no idea how she has the restraint to not just obliterate everyone in front of her. But, like, thank fuck she doesn't need to, because, Jesus, I don't want to see that much violence.
And she has kind of a rational mind such that if she were ordered to stand down, she'll be like, well, I'm really sorry. Yes, of course. But, like, behind the scenes, she'll be like, I'll fucking murder you. But, of course, anything...
She's basically Lucy from Elfen Lied, but with a brain.
Yeah.
And, like, a strong lust for the main character.
Yeah.
A very strong lust.
And a mystical creature of sorts.
God damn, I love Albedo.
Yep.
I need to watch season 2.
And 3.
And 4 when it comes out.
And read the manga. And read the manga spin-offs.
And watch the movie.
Well, the movie is not out yet. I mean, unless you were talking about the compilation movies, but, you know.
Yeah. Just anything Albedo, I'll take it. So that's the thing. Okay, so you've been coming with the heavy hitters, right? You had Shimoneta, you had Tokyo Ghoul, you had this right now with Overlord, like, and also Happy Sugar Life too. Like, wait, who the fuck is number 1?
So,
I can see you're stressing out a bit.
I actually am, like, I'm being put on the spot still. I have this entry in front of me, and I'm still hesitant to say it. But obviously, I'm going to.
Oh my god, it's not Mikasa from AOT, is it?
Nope.
Okay, good.
It is based off of the visual novel of the same name developed by Overflow. It's an anime that premiered in summer 2007, produced by TNK. The reason, and I'm going to mention this property and everything till the end because, well, you'll understand when I elaborate on it. Earlier, when I talked about Happy Sugar Life, I think when it comes to, obviously, anime and manga being fictional, media and properties, sometimes it could be based off of reality, but obviously it's fictional. The more realistic it is hella scary. Furthermore, when I were to tell you that School Days is an anime that you should consider when it comes to Yanderes, you will probably look at me and be like, the fuck you talking about, boy?
Yeah, I'm not the only one. I mean, Giguk would say the same. CWA would say the same thing. Whether it's Base would say the same thing. Anime, everyone would be like, I can't believe this crazy son bitch just brought up School Days. Why the fuck you talking about School Days? But I'm sure there's perfect reasoning for this.
School Days, I don't even want to talk about the character in question or the characters in question. You need to watch it because if you really want to reassess your whole conception of the possibilities of what a yandere can do, forget about reality breaking, forget about mystical creatures. Let's get to the essence of what a yandere is, which is to kill and torture and brutalize people for the love and affection of your love interest. And sometimes, by the way, which we have failed to mention up till now, the love interest doesn't have to be alive.
Wait. That is true. Every single one we've talked about was either like a physical embodiment of themselves or actually a physical living being.
So, this
is why yanderes need to be treated with caution, guys and girls.
This anime/visual novel takes place in a typical high school and is a romance. Oh, surprise, surprise. Oh, there's a love triangle. Surprise, surprise. I did not understand why everyone not wanted to mention School Days ever. It is the only anime on my entire My Anime List catalog other than Grave of the Fireflies, except Grave of the Fireflies I don't even put on there because I don't, even though it is a 10 out of 10, I don't want to talk about it with other people. But School Days is on there, and it's the only anime that I've completed that I have not rated. I don't know how to say it without spoiling stuff, but you need to watch it.
You really see the state of shock that Jason's in. It's just like mouth open,
Because I'm thinking about what takes place and what happens over the anime, and I'm just still like, ugh. And this is a guy that watches medical videos of surgeons doing their surgery and work with amputees because I study prosthetics and stuff like that. I don't care about needles or blood or anything. I watched a lot of gory shit. And
I mean, you've played Dead Space, right?
I beat all 3 of them.
You know that one scene with the drill, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
You know what I did? I first successfully avoided that scenario.
And then you replayed it.
Then replayed it to fail it to see. And bro, woo. But let me tell you, that scene, I'll take that any day over School Days.
What, really?
100%.
Shit, now I want to watch School Days properly.
Now, here's what's going to happen, which is, if you were to hear this, me talk about it for this long, and be like, yeah, sure, I'll check it out. I'll prove Jason wrong. Let me tell you this process, because I went through the exact same thing.
Okay, well, how many stages are there?
So, first of all, someone would tell you, in this case me, about School Days and Yanderes, and you're just like, I mean, and then you look at my anime list and it's like a 5.42 or whatever, and you're just like, the fuck is this?
So it's like State of Denial or...
Oh, like... it's only like 12 episodes. Yeah, sure. Why not? Why the fuck not? Yeah, sure. I have like 6 hours to kill.
Go from denial to curiosity.
And then you watch like the first, however many episodes, and you're like, this is bullshit. This is so boring. This is terrible. And by the way, you're absolutely right. But hey, and then you keep watching. It's like, I don't know what the fuck everyone is talking about. And then it happens. And then you're like, no, bro, no. And then it happens again, and then you're like, no, okay, so, no. And then it goes to a logical conclusion, and you're just like, I need to find another human being or a puppy and hug it before, like, I think about anything else. Or maybe I'll donate some money to a charitable organization. I need to feel better. That was my process. And therefore... it is, when it comes to Yanderes, this is my number 1 pick. My personal favorite, despite the fact I absolutely loathe and hate School Days.
That must have been very tough for you.
Super tough.
I mean, to be fair, the first 9 were quite like, yo, makes absolute sense. School Days, that's a tough pill to swallow.
Look, can any of those other characters mess up the people in School Days? 100%, not even a question in my mind. But I would argue some of these people would sit down and watch School Days and be like, bruh, that's messed up.
Something's wrong with you, man.
Bruh, like, I got mystical powers, but bro, like, man.
Albedo and Rize be like, you need help, man. Like, you seriously need to see someone.
Forget about Rize being called the binge eater. She'll turn bulimic after watching School Days.
Man, I should rewatch and reread some of Tokyo Ghoul again. But, yo, that is a very good top 10 list. I would say that most of mine like kind of match up. Some of them, like, because of the fact that I haven't really watched a lot of Shimoneta, I haven't watched enough of Happy Sugar Life. I know that they would be on the list, but I personally wouldn't have put them on my own list. I had people say, for example, like I had Yukako from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure on there. You will see her later on in Part 4.
She has
the wet hair. The wet hair.
There you go. Yeah, I know what that is. Yep.
Yeah, I think I also had I had Nadako from Sengoku from Monogatari, just because like
it's spoilery though.
It's spoilery, so I won't go that much into it. But great character, and it's Kanahana again.
So there is another Overlord character that actually would have not overtaken Albedo as my personal favorite, but would still be on the list of the top 10, but revealing this person's name and character is actually quite spoiler. But
I know who you're talking about.
I think that character in question is done pretty well, very messed up, and this person's progression is very messed up.
Yeah. Suffice to say, I think we did pretty well in terms of our respective top 10 lists. I wouldn't say there's any like disagreements or any shocks. I would say that, of course. Yeah, the fact that you didn't have anyone from Code Geass was definitely something I was like, But that, again, I like Code Geass. You don't really remember much from Code Geass, therefore it makes sense that like you wouldn't have anyone on there on that list.
I mean, that one character, technically, yes, she does
start a war.
Yeah, but like,
I'm happy to spoil Code Geass because people would have watched it by now.
No. They need to watch the movies, right? That's the
no. They retcon way too much. The Yandere we're talking about here, she doesn't do half the shit in the movies. So I know, keep that shit there.
So that is our top 10 Kuuderes from Will's side, and a little bit of my input, and my top 10 Yanderes from my side, and Will's input and opinions as well.
I'm wondering, like, if there was going to be an all-out battle between your Yanderes and my Kuuderes, how many of my Kuuderes would still be alive? Toka would be alive.
Let me check real quick.
Shiki would be alive. Roberta would definitely be alive.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so High Score Girl, sorry. My Little Monster, sorry. Yeah. Domestic Girlfriend, sorry. Tatami Galaxy, sorry. CC is like maybe, depending.
She's got the powers to manipulate, but if you were to get her to a physical fight, she would be destroyed, unfortunately.
Should be like, what toppings are there?
You can't kill Akashi, man. She's metaphorical. No, but you're right. No, I don't think she'd be able to last much in a fight.
So we don't know. Will and I don't know if like going forward we would do multiple top 10 waifu / best girl lists, and if we were to do so, we don't know if
we got to be creative with it.
Right. We want. I'm guessing the way that we're going to go about it going forward is have certain themes to restrict our list rather than having free reign, and maybe at like season 20 or season 59 or 69, you know what I mean? Then we will have the definitive list.
Top 10 feet in anime.
Bro, don't do that. I can just tell you already. I can already tell you bronze is everyone else. Silver is
Akebi's left foot, and then gold is Ruby's right foot.
Yep, from Akebi Sailor uniform. And then first place is Miru tights. There's just no question in my mind.
Bruh,
no, sorry. Assault Lily Bouquet would be number 3.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
That would be on there, too. Yeah.
There you go.
Please watch Akebi. But yeah, that was our top 10 lists for Kuuderes and Yanderes.
I had a lot of fun doing this.
This was fun. I mean, like, for sure, like, I was wondering if I was able to do this, because Kuuderes weren't exactly an area that I was well-versed in, but considering the stuff that I've been reading and watching lately, I felt a lot more comfortable doing it.
I had a lot more options to choose from, but I was also surprised at some of the entries that I ended up putting as my final top 10. So when I saw School Days on my completed list, I was like, oh, yeah. Fuck. Yeah.
Yeah, I was looking up my own complete list as well, and that's how I came up with my top 10. So, look, again, it's all subjective. We all have our dislikes and likes. We all have our waifus and his girls. Sometimes we don't have any of them. But...
And we're all here to have fun and appreciate the love of anime and manga.
I'd say, yeah, my Kuudere list, your Yandere list, they're pretty good. If they were to actually go to a fight, my Kuuderes would totally die.
By the way, I'm kind of putting you on the spot, but do you actually want to know what happens at the end of School Days? I'm not going to say it here, but off air.
I'll watch it.
Okay. All right. So you can always reach us through our email, gapalette@gmail.com. That's GAPALETTE@gmail.com, all lowercase, all one word. You can also contact us on Twitter using the handle @PaletteGood. That's capital P and capital G, all one word. And we have a Facebook page at www.facebook.com/PaletteGood, capital P, capital G, all one word. You can tell us whether or not our Kuudere choices are correct, or our Yandere choices are correct, or even, better yet, tell us what restrictions / themes we should go if we were to do a second go-around of this Rose Rumble.
Yeah, let us know what your top 10 wish list would be.
We also have a website. Encourage you to check it out. You can visit our website at www.goodanimepalette.com, all lowercase, all one word. You can join us on Discord. We have a Mal Club. It's all in the show description. If you do not want to access from the show description, you just email us. We'll give it to you, no problem. Music credits for this episode. Our intro music is Comfortable Right Here by Eolot. Our break music is Be Right There by Omie, and our outro music is Future Vibes by Kyo. Our music was provided courtesy of epidemicsound.com. If you're interested in using Epidemic Sound as a service, we will have a referral link for you that is provided in the show description.
I think, honestly, like, my top 10 Yanderes and your top 10 Yanderes probably weren't that different, but our top 10 Kuuderes, you said that out of the 10 I listed, that only one was, like, in your top 10, not like your predictions 10, but like your own like top 10 Kuuderes, that was Shiki Rugi from Garden of Sinners, right?
That's correct.
Yeah. I'm actually interested to hear maybe a few others you had and see if I've watched them. Because that was the issue. Again, it just came down to what shows we have watched.
Hold on. Only 3 are shows that you have not consumed at all.
Right.
1 you have consumed, but you're not finished, and that person has not shown up yet. The rest I have either mentioned already to you, or it's pretty obvious.
So I know a couple of them then.
You know more than half of them.
Cool. Okay.
And if I were to tell you all of them, you'll be like, oh yeah, I can kind of see that. Even though I don't know or didn't watch this property, yeah, I can kind of see that. Yeah, okay.
Got it. Okay. Well, again, it's definitely an open world when it comes to your love types, whether it's Kus, Suns, Dans, or if it's Yans. I don't know why you would love a Yandere. I like Yandere.
Hey, listen. Albedo.
Okay, all right.
If I had to choose, like, honestly, like, realistically speaking, as, like, a hypothetical waifu, she is a very good choice.
Who would you waifu, Rize or Albedo?
100% Albedo.
Right.
Because the problem, if we have to go through it, like, actually go through it, Rize is kind of out of control. She's out of control.
If you get into an argument with Rize, it's over.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're dead.
But Albedo will be like, oh, I'm really sorry. I'll shut up now.
I promise I won't kill you next time.
No, she won't even kill me, but she'll be like, just let me go out back for a bit. And then she destroys a motherfucking world. Then comes back in through the kitchen door and being like, yeah, hey, do you want some brownies? I'll be like, yeah, it's awesome.
I'm going to go make an apple pie right now.
Yeah,
oh,
sure.
Sweet. Oh, I love you, Albedo.
Yeah, it's great. Here, let me sharpen your axe just because we need to chop wood. Well, yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
It's all good. It's not for my head. Yeah.
What a fun list. So, yeah, since Jason already mentioned, let us know if you want us to go over any top 10 lists, or even just talk about a specific topic in anime or manga for an After Dark. We're always open in terms of suggestions, even though we have a very, very clustered list of topics to go over.
But yeah. Happy Valentine's Day. I mean, if we could go like a little bit off topic into personal life, I think I told you, Will, I have never spent a Valentine's Day with a love, like with significant other for some reason. It's either we broke up before Valentine's Day or we got together after Valentine's Day.
Yeah, before it was Christmas for me. Yeah. No comment on my current relationship status.
Yeah, no comment on my current relationship status, but I can tell you Albedo's not there.
My current status is watching anime and reading manga.
And I will do so as well, and we will get back to you on the next iteration of the Good Anime Pal podcast.
So go check out our top 10 lists, all the characters from those shows, and hey, drop us a note. Who's your favorites? And you can fight me if you don't agree that Akashi's the best girl of all time.
Okay. Last thing, honestly. One property for Kuuderes that you chose that you want them to want listeners to check out right now.
Oh, shit. Okay, Eurocamp. Because it's fluffy.
Okay. What about for me?
For you? Well, it's to check out for you?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, have you finished Haruhi Suzumiya?
Good point. Let's go. That's a great pick for me.
All right. Oh, would you like to venture down the world of Planet After Story?
No, hell no, bro. Fuck that shit.
You guys can do that. So we're gonna catch you. Next
wait.
episode.
What about me, man? What about me?
Oh, I mean, like, if you were gonna suggest a Yandere show to me.
I would say Shimoneta.
Yeah, I actually need to watch that one.
It's a fun time.
Right.
But
for the wider audience,
don't watch. You could watch School Days, but just
watch Overlord.
Just don't come back to me crying.
Overlord's a really good one.
Overlord's awesome.
Yeah. So check that one out. Okay.
Actually, that's it. Check Overlord out. Period.
Done. Easy. Okay, well, you guys go ahead and check out the anime we just suggested, and we will catch you in the next episode.